They've been really kind of impressed, and especially recently telling us how they are getting new types of members buying the gym membership, but actually rarely or never going to the gym side, but they go to the relaxation side.
They are a prime example of someone that has understood the purpose of it and they have implemented that properly into the business. Yeah. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Firstly, thank you very much for being here. How have you found Elevate so far?
It's been excellent. We've had kind of loads of people coming to test the Neurosonic products, and it's been very interesting discussions and so far. Yeah.
Because they're very unassuming. Like you look at it and it doesn't look like a recovery bed in the sense that it's very sleek. It's very like, it doesn't look like there's anything inside it other than padding.
Yeah.
And yet you get on it. And it was genuinely unlike any experience I've had. Like it was a full body Theragun essentially, and it was a very unique experience. And you know, it easy to do. There's a guy literally just passed out asleep. I do find that they do look like they're out cold. Yeah. But recovery as a practice is slowly becoming more mainstream. I wouldn't say it's quite there yet. I mean, would you agree with that firstly? And how do you kind of make it more mainstream?
Yeah, I guess it's still the fact that the effort is celebrated more than the recovery. But I think we are getting there. It's the wearables and the measurements they've been developing and guiding us towards thinking about the recovery and thinking about the sleep and you know, what are the biometrics. So I think we are getting there, but still it's the fact is that when my smart ring or watch or band says that I've slept poorly or I'm stressed, the question is then what do I do to fix that? So yeah.
What's the answer to that question?
Yeah, of course we have one answer that we believe, and it's also scientifically proven. So it's kind of modulating your kind of nervous system. So that's kind of activating the parasympathetic nervous system with the vibration and getting the benefits immediately from the
I want to touch on that a little bit, because it is a very strange feeling, and it feels quite like maybe not cutting edge science, but quite like it's a new frontier. Let's say it's the vibrations, it's the nervous system. I mean, I found out you can stretch your nervous system the other day, which is interesting. But where does the idea for that product come from? Where is that born from? Like,
yeah, well, the innovator and the founder of the company, Marko Kärkkäinen, is a Finnish psychotherapist. So he originally kind of wanted to have a tool for his clients, for his patients who had stress issues, sleep issues, and he had some background in vibration, and he kind of then had the idea of doing this, but vibration, as said, that it's new. I think it's new in this format, but you know, it's been always there. So cats purr, and that's vibration that helps their nervous system to relax. So the basics are really in the nature.
That's very interesting. I didn't know that about cats. So cats purr to like calm themselves and relax. That's very interesting. Okay, I mean, it's a human cat bed essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think most people think of like recovery as something that you do after a workout passively. It's not proactive. Why is that not right?
Recovery, as such, it's an active biological process itself. So the heart rate slows down, the breathing slows down, kind of the metabolism and all of it. So it's a process that starts and you can impact it. You have different ways of doing it. Getting the impact, the signal from the vibration is one way to activate the nervous system through the body and then really have the active recovery ongoing.
And then when someone is in that, because is it essentially kind of bringing someone back from that fight or flight response?
Yeah.
What is happening in someone's body when that fight or flight response is being triggered? And I mean, how does that like?
Yeah. Yeah, so of course, then the stress and the fight or flight, it's useful. When you are being chased by a bear or a lion, it makes sense that all the energy and blood flow goes to the muscles and makes you kind of as fast as you can be, and there's no usage for digestion or recovery at that point of time. So it's useful in that sense. But when we are, in modern day, sitting in front of a computer and having the same reaction, it doesn't really have the same usefulness. So we are on kind of on always on, and that means that the sympathetic side of the nervous system has taken over. It can be even during the night when we sleep. So the recovery is not happening, and that's what we want to stop. We want to give the body a signal that no, it's okay to go back to the recovery, and actually we need to teach the nervous system to do that, because it's with the constant stress, it has kind of learned to be on the stress side all the time.
So the term recovery, I think, can be taken by someone to mean many different things. And what does the term recovery mean in the sense? Well, what does recovery mean? Is it to do with the nervous system solely, or?
Yeah, I guess you can define it in many different ways, but I think for me, it means that you create a balance. You come back to the balanced state, whether it's your muscles, after an exercise, or whether it's your nervous system in a stressful situation. But the key is how you bounce back, how you come back to the metastasis, so to say, that you have the balance in the system.
I like that, the bounce back. It's good, yeah. So how does poor sleep work against someone that's putting in the work and in getting fit and getting healthy? How does poor sleep negate that?
Yeah, of course, I feel that sleep is basis for everything, whether it's your training or whether it's your business life or wherever. You are not fully you if you don't sleep well. So of course it's kind of the tiredness. You wake up tired. Your kind of heart rate variability, heart rate is off, and you have a brain fog. All of this happens with poor sleep. So we always say that when people start using Neurosonic for whatever purpose, that if you have sleep problems, that needs to be fixed first. So first concentrate on sleep, and then everything else will kind of follow. So whether you want to maximize your training, you need to recover, you to sleep well to be able to train hard, to be able to recover from the hard training, or whether you are standing on a booth in a expo, and make maximum out of it. So you need to sleep well.
That's very stressful. Yeah, I can tell you that. I want to get into the responsibility and education side of it later, but I just want to touch on what are the kind of signs and signals for people that are watching now to watch out for that mean their nervous system is overloaded.
Yeah. Well, I think it's many things that I just mentioned. So it's you've slept but you wake up tired. You kind of a heart rate might be high. You feel the brain fog, and your focus is off. So it's a very basic thing that you are tired, and sometimes we just push through it and never mind it, and
But that makes it worse.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, it accentuates it. And how many gym goers? Because so we were talking figures earlier, and in the UK, market penetration, so the amount of people that are going to the gym in the UK is at 17.6%, and that's gone up. How many of those 17.6% of people, ballpark figure obviously, are chronically stressed and chronically overstimulated and tired?
Yeah, it's I think we estimate kind of people with sleeping issues. I have that number more readily in my mind. So it's up to 33% of people who encounter insomnia, or at least kind of occasional sections of bad sleep, and the kind of the impact, of course, is huge personally. If you don't sleep, you don't get the life is not kind of what it could be, but it also have a huge impact on kind of economically for our economies. In UK, I think it was like 40 billion kind of annually. That is the cost of poor sleep. So it's a huge impact.
You know what? That figure doesn't even sound that shocking. It's like, because actually, I think as an industry, we've been talking about it, we're only 60 years old as an industry in terms of fitness and health. I think the fact that it's only 60 years old is crazy. Because, I mean, obviously people have been working out and exercising for centuries, but the fact that the industry formally as we know it is only 60 years old, kind of, does that explain why there is this kind of almost big gap in the education and how people behave and how they should behave?
Well, I think in many times you think about athletes, like professional athletes, they know how to do it. They rest, they do the recovery. It's really about understanding how the physiology works. But I think then nowadays, especially when we go to work, then we have a short time after work to do whatever we want to do in the spare time. We cramp in the training and try to maximize it. And the easiest thing to forget is the recovery. So I guess it's not that there is not the knowledge, but we don't really pay attention to it, or we just still try to do the effort rather than recovery.
The difference between this and ice baths, say, is that like I could have that in my home. I could have that in my gym, and I don't have to get changed. I don't have to do anything other than just lie down and press a button. How important is that simplicity of user experience to like making sure people adopt it and start doing that recovery?
I think that is hugely important, and that's one thing that we really try to develop even further. When the means, and in this case Neurosonic, is readily available and it doesn't require effort from you, you are more likely to use it often. But it in our case it also goes beyond the use. It's effortless. You don't need to do it. You don't need to add another kind of tick in your schedule, for meditation, for other things. You just let the vibration do the work. But the same goes for the businesses who implement it. The kind of, how do you kind of install the devices and take them into use? It's almost plug and play, and it's very easy. So it's both for the businesses and the users.
And on that, like an ice bath is not. Does the comparison to an ice bath annoy you at all, or is it a fair comparison?
No, it's all right. Yeah.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I was just checking before you rip my head off after. Like an ice bath is fun, almost. It's like a fun thing to do, whereas that is like so easy. And I think in terms of how regularly I will do it, I will probably do the easier thing more often than the fun thing. And yeah, it's seeing really is believing with it. It blew my mind, honestly. Please check Neurosonic out. This is an advert, but it's not an advert. The low frequency vibrations, it sounds very sci-fi, and we touched on the cats earlier. I find that very interesting. What are the vibrations actually doing to the nervous system?
Yeah, so if we put it very simply, the vibration kind of gives the body a signal that is then transferred into the brain. So the signal is everything is okay now, you can relax, and then the parasympathetic activity starts. But there's of course more science to it. So we have a kind of a mechanoreceptors in all of our kind of skin, our organs, our muscles that sense the vibration, and they turn it into an electrical signal that goes into a brain that starts the process of recovery, meaning that the parasympathetic side of the nervous system is activating.
That's crazy. Like, so what's the purpose of those receptors outside of the beds?
Well, there was actually a Nobel Prize winning study, I think 5 years ago. We had nothing to do with it, but it touched vibration and the same frequencies that we use. So in that study, they were studying how do we actually feel touch and warmth, kind of what's the mechanism of it. We didn't know it before. And so what they found out that we actually have in every cell, even blood cells, have these piezo 1 and piezo 2 receptors that sense pressure as vibration. And it just happens to be the same vibration range that we have in our products. So it comes from nature, basically. So those receptors are activated with the vibration, and it then sends the signal, everything is okay, now the parasympathetic activity can start.
Are you a personal question, but do you have a belief in like a human's connection to nature? That's quite a broad question, but
Yeah, well, we are part of the nature, so I'm sure.
I think it's quite an interesting viewpoint to have. Like we are animals at the end of the day, and all animals are connected to nature in some way, and they live through it. And an interesting thing I learned that's not really related, but I'm going to claim that it is trees release phytoncides,
Yeah.
and it feels quite similar in the sense that these are essentially just signals that trees release, and they boost your immune system. So basically, spending more time in nature just naturally aids recovery, I think. And you know, my point, I guess, is that there's something to be said between the connection of our connection to nature and
Yeah, but it's you know,
it's science.
I'm from Finland, and the company is from Finland. We have more saunas than cars in the country, and kind of, you know, by tradition, you were talking about cold plunging as a kind of a particular act of recovery that you do in a gym or whatever. We've been going, you know, plunging through the ice for centuries, and that's called swimming in the winter.
Yeah,
You know, so it's also that what do we then actually, it's totally natural, but it's not in Finland necessarily thought as a kind of a deliberate act of recovery, but it's just what you do on a Tuesday night.
Well, because it made you feel. I think that you don't do it for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point, actually.
So I think that's what we like to tie in the Neurosonic as well, into this tradition of going to sauna, having the cold plunging, kind of being in the nature. So kind of comes naturally, the recovery in a sense as well.
And is it not a lot of cars or loads of saunas?
Loads of saunas.
Okay, fair. So when you lie on it, the effects that I had from it, I would say were almost instant. After you get up, you're like, I do feel something different. And whether it's a placebo or not, is this something that should be done regularly as part of a routine, or is it kind of a bit of a one-off, like taking a paracetamol almost?
No, it certainly should be regular. So you get the benefit of the stress release even with the one go. But when we talk about the sleep quality, you know, teaching the nervous system to recover, it takes a little bit more time. So we are talking about using it at least for a few weeks and 2 to 3 times per week. And then you start seeing the improvement in your sleep quality, especially the deep sleep will kind of increase. And
you can't use it too much, can you?
No.
Okay, I would use it every night.
Yeah.
Okay. Recovery, as we touch on it, not being a mainstream thing, and it's often provided from a gym's point of view as a bolt-on service that is kind of unexplained, and you just go and do, and you get kids messing around in the cold plunge or whatever. What is the effect of not properly advertising and promoting the recovery aspect of the gym on the members and staff within the gym?
Yeah, I mean, of course, in our case, the chair is long. There's a risk that it becomes a furniture rather than a recovery method if it's not kind of promoted and used regularly. So I think it's very important to have a kind of a concept that you use. If you acquire recovery tools, whether it's ours or somebody else's, you probably need to have some sort of recovery concept that you want to then implement throughout your members and also talk about it.
You kind of answered my question, I think, but whose responsibility is it? Is it yours? Is it the gym owners? Is it the members to educate themselves on how to use these things?
Well, I think to make it successful and from an experience, if the gym owner and whoever works at the gym, they are knowledgeable of the technologies and how to use it, it will have a huge impact then on the usage as well. So I would say that's the main maintain. Of course, us as a manufacturers need to have a kind of a great program and tools to educate then the gym owners and the people working there. But
We were talking earlier about the big chain in Finland that uses the beds.
yeah.
What's the effect been? What's the impact been of implementing the beds in the gym?
Yeah, we've been working with a gym called Fressi. They have 60 plus location all over Finland, and they've been having our devices there for a long time. So basically, every kind of a center has at least one Neurosonic device. I think the biggest one have up to 10 devices, and they really loved it, and they've actually built a concept around it called Relax by Fressi. So it has our products in there, but it also can have massage chairs or some other. But they've been really kind of impressed, and especially recently, telling us how they are getting new types of members buying the gym membership, but actually rarely or never going to the gym side, but they go to the relaxation side. And I guess it's kind of a product of having everybody having a bad sleep or having the stress. So that needs to be treated first.
And I mean, can you call them an independent? Maybe not, but they are.
They're privately owned
So,
kind
okay,
of, yeah.
And I think they are a prime example of someone that like has understood the purpose of it, the effects of it. They believe in it, and they have implemented that properly into the business.
Yeah.
Why are independents and privately owned businesses like that positioned better than, say, a publicly owned like leisure center?
Yeah, well, I guess the private gyms and the gym owners, they know their customers, they know their customer base probably better, and they can also then tailor the recovery, the story, the concept towards their customers that they know. So I think the kind of a rate of success is much better there.
And so I'm a gym owner now, self-proclaimed. And if I want to start implementing that into my club, where do I start?
Well, of course, easy thing is you can contact us, obviously.
Yeah, fair.
That's one thing.
Reach out to an expert is what you meant to say.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's looking at the needs, how the trends are going. I think recovery is something that you absolutely need to have addressed somehow, and kind of creating a concept around that is where to start. And of course, manufacturers like us, we are there to help and want to help and want to talk about how to set it up and bring our experiences from other gyms to the owners of what has worked and what has not.
So, yeah, fair enough. And so I've done that now. I've become educated and I'm implementing it into the club now. Who benefits the most from using these recovery beds correctly? Is it like stress members, hard work, like like bodybuilding, my bodybuilding members, my older members?
What we have found, and it has also been found in the studies that we've been part of, so maybe it sounds obvious, but those who have issues will kind of benefit the most. So those who train the hardest, so after a harder training, the impact is bigger than after a kind of easy training. So makes sense, right? But it also happens then that if you have a low HRV, you sleep poorly, so the impact will be bigger than if you are, so it tends to be that if you are 20 something and you don't have sleeping problems, so you are then incrementally improving it. But if you are closing to a kind of a little bit older age, then the stress from work and sleep problems start to kind of pile up. So there is even more need for recovery.
Yeah, the worse you are, the better you get, essentially. Yeah, okay, so I like it. It's the thing I really like about it is the application of it. Anyone can use it, and it's not just for like gym goers. It's for workplace well-being. Have you seen this get adopted and taken up in like workplace environments?
Yeah, well, a lot. So
I would never get any work done though. I would be sleeping on that all the time.
We do sell quite a bit in And we were just having a event in an Ernst & Young office in Helsinki. They have our devices there, and lots of other bigger companies and smaller companies have kind of invested into these recovery rooms, that there's also active recovery, not just a sofa, but something that would help you to feel better. Because we think that we work, we were productive the same way during the morning towards the afternoon as well. But it's also been that if you don't have any breaks, the afternoon is 30-40% less productive than the morning session. So having tools there will benefit the employee, of course, but also the employer for having a more productive kind of a workforce.
Thinking as a business-minded gym owner now, that's educated, is there an opportunity for me to take these beds from my facility and kind of turn it into an even greater revenue stream by taking it into my local businesses and going out into the community with it?
Yeah. So, actually, a good example, the same Fressi chain that we've been working with, they also kind of started to kind of export their Relax by Fressi concept by offering it to kind of the companies, so that companies who kind of approach them on gym memberships and other kind of training sessions, they were kind of saying that, hey, we can also bring these recovery tools to you and have it built in your office.
And that naturally spreads the gospel of recovery, doesn't it? I think it's quite a nice passive way of doing it. And I've said it multiple times, but I believe trying one of the beds is instantly you understand it. I get it. As does Grant. Clearly, he loved it. What in 5 years will be the impact of gyms that don't start to implement recovery into their programs? Where will they be?
Well, I firmly believe that kind of recovery in the gyms, in the workplace, it needs to be built in now, especially with as we are always on. So those who don't do it, I mean, their customer base don't feel as good as those ones who are actually training, and it's both from just as well-being, but also the results that they get from the gym. So I think it's something you have to think about and not lightly.
I believe that the way the industry's going, we've moved away from aesthetics and looking good and looking big, and that will always exist. I think narcissism and vanity will always be things that we do. But yeah, I think as we move towards that wellness shift and that longevity shift, and COVID, I think, changed a lot of people's minds to now be a lot more health conscious, which is a good thing. I don't know if you could say COVID was good, but silver linings. So yeah, I mean, if a gym owner now listening today has decided they want to make the step and take the first leap, what's their first step?
Yeah, I mean, neurosonictech.com.
I'm a firm believer in it. Couldn't support you guys more. So yeah, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.